Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Andy Ruiz Jr., the former unified champion, has made some shocking admissions at the post-fight press conference following his loss to Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia. So Ruiz has stated he was overweight, he was too heavy, and he didn't train hard enough. And these sorts of statements, and I'll get to some quotes here, they certainly will have people talking about, was this a Buster Douglas moment? Unable to keep his belt the second time around, didn't train hard enough, and the parallels, I'm sure, will be drawn. So the statements themselves. So Andy Ruiz Jr. says he was overweight, he didn't train hard enough, and being bigger and heavier did not benefit him. He said he didn't move the way that he wanted to. He says, I was slimmer and I put the weight on. It was my mistake. I think I felt too confident. I should have trained harder and listened to my team and my coaches. Can't wait for the next fight. He won one, I won one, so there's a trilogy. We're going to a third one. I know what I should have did. I learned from my mistakes. I know I'll be ready for the next one. And he did say the cut affected him to some degree, but both fighters were effectively cut in the same spot. But he just said, I had to manage with that. And he said he didn't want to make excuses, but he did say he was waiting too much, his arms didn't feel fluid like they usually did, and he was too heavy, wasn't able to throw my combinations. Those were Andy Ruiz Jr.'s statements from the post-fight press conference. Some rather shocking admissions, and I know in my post-fight review I sort of said Andy Ruiz Jr. was outthought here, outpointed, Joshua executed a good game plan. And some of the weight issue, it's sort of hard to know, even if he was a bit leaner, would that have actually changed the course of the fight? The thing is, we will never know. But why did Andy Ruiz Jr. not train hard? Was it the whole, he didn't want to put in the effort because he thought that actually he was going to get this done easy? He did allude to in that press conference that he felt a bit too confident, that he should have trained harder and listened to his team and his coaches. And Manny Robles, and you can see here on screen, this is Ruiz with his trainer, stone-faced throughout this press conference. He will know that this was a lost opportunity, and clearly Andy Ruiz Jr. putting on weight when his trainers, his coaches, did not advise him to do so. They wanted him to be in better shape, better condition. And when he was asked about that, and I covered that in the comment before, he said he was slimmer in training camp but piled on the weight. So this is, on him. It really is. I can't actually believe that he squandered this opportunity, that he's admitted he didn't train hard enough, that he was putting on extra weight, and somehow he thought that would benefit him. And I know there was a lot of talk after the weigh-in where he weighed in at 283 pounds, 15 pounds heavier than the first fight. Some people were saying, or maybe it was smoke and mirrors, that he had his clothes on and that he could have had lead in his pocket, or the sombrero was heavy, etc. But take away the shoes, the clothes, and the sombrero, he was still heavier than the first fight. No way was he wearing 15 pounds. He's admitted he was heavier than the first fight, and it's backfired on him. So why didn't he put the effort in? Knowing that Anthony Joshua, if he was following this to any extent of the build-up, was really grinding in the gym. He was coming in lighter. Ruiz Jr. knew he was going to have a guy that was going to try and make adjustments, but he fought like a fighter that didn't really know what was in front of him, even though he should have been expecting what Joshua was looking to do. And that's credit to Joshua in the game plan, but Ruiz didn't give himself the best opportunity at the third heaviest weight of his career and the third heaviest weight since 2009 to win the fight. He looked slow in there in terms of his feet. His feet aren't necessarily quick to begin with. He's got fast hands, not necessarily fast feet. So coming in extra heavy, it always seemed like that was potentially a bad strategy. And for me, with my weigh-in video, I did say, would this change people's opinion on who would win the fight? Because to me, that was a bad omen. And I was finding it hard to call this fight, but in the end, the guy who executed better, Joshua, he won the fight. And I said that's how it would come down to. But Ruiz just didn't seem to make the adjustments. And when he was in there, he just wasn't doing too much. He was waiting for counters and opportunities. And Joshua starved him of that. And Ruiz is sort of putting it down to the extra weight. He wasn't fluid like he usually is. He wasn't able to throw his combinations. But some of that was down to he was held out at range. Joshua was doing his thing from distance. He was making it much harder and giving fewer opportunities for Ruiz to actually get into the fight. And we saw when there were opportunities, when they're up close and trading, he did have some success and he was able to hurt Joshua to some extent. But why, oh why would he do this? And I'd note Buster Douglas, for his next fight after beating Mike Tyson in such a massive upset 30 years ago, in his next fight against Evander Holyfield, he was about 15 pounds heavier for that one. He didn't train hard enough, he wasn't in great shape, and we've got a direct parallel here. And we know Andy Ruiz Jr. is a quality fighter, but why, oh why would he do this to himself? So he actually did slim down, he admitted that, but then decided to put the weight back on. So he must have been eating like crazy in the final few weeks, and especially in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's really backfired big time, but stunning admissions from Ruiz that he didn't put the effort that he could have put into this. He didn't train hard enough, despite his trainers telling him he needed to. Yeah, and this third fight thing, he kept mentioning that, but he doesn't have a rematch. Joshua will go on to fight either Kubrat Pulev or Alexander Usyk. Andy Ruiz Jr., through his own efforts, because he didn't win this rematch, doesn't have a claim to those belts for a fight. He is really out in the cold now, and seemingly he put himself there. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.